I'm gonna try to not be too awkward, but I'm not making any promises. My name's Harry, and I'm an artist. I don't know how else to describe myself. Last year I was with my friend and I was trying to figure out where I fit in the world creatively, because I've tried my hand at quite a few things, like making video games, making music, filmmaking, making puppets. I like puppets, all right? And yeah, I didn't really know where I fit. And I didn't really know how to refer to myself as a creative person. And she said, well, you're an artist. And weirdly, even though it's quite a broad title to have, it actually gave me lots of clarity and focus. I've been a sound engineer for all of my working life. And whilst there's been lots of good times, creatively I felt quite boxed in, because essentially I was facilitating other people's creative work. And there is like fulfillment in that to some degree. But at the end of the day, I like to make things, and I spend a lot of my spare time making things. And that career hasn't really allowed me to really explore that properly. So I'm taking this opportunity to do it now. What has this got to do with anything? Well, last year I started 3D modeling, and I was doing some sculpting, mainly for some short film stuff I was working on. But I ended up printing a model, and I really liked the process. The model was like, it's a bit of a mess. It wasn't really designed for 3D printing. The wings are broken off. It was this kind of Fae Dragon thing. I'm still quite proud of it though. But realizing that the best way to describe myself was as an artist, along with some other things at the time, I became quite focused and driven, and I knew I wanted to explore this and focus on this. So that's what I've spent a lot of my time doing. And the point of this video is that I'm releasing my first miniature. And, you know, I am quite proud of it. I'm a very critical person. Of myself, not of other people. I always feel like I can do better. And that's kind of what pushes me further anyway. So the point of this video is partly to say hello and introduce myself as Kinsfolk Miniatures and show my first miniature that will be on sale when this video goes up. But also, generally, I want to be very human about the work I'm going to do. I want to present myself as, you know, a normal person. I don't want to be this faceless business. I want to be a human that's making cool things. And I would love for that to have some legs and to be sustainable. I always want to be open and transparent and human about things. So this miniature was partly a spin-off of the one I did last year, and I knew from the start that I wanted it to be kind of whimsical and full of character, but also my approach is to do things with a level of simplicity that makes them like not easy to paint, but maybe fun to paint, hopefully. I want to go soft detailed, but soft but chunky. Chunky, is that the right? I don't think that's the right word. Crispy. Soft but crispy. I'm going with that. I want to make things that are a bit janky, with a handmade kind of feel, even though it's all digitally sculpted. I do want to try some hand sculpted stuff at some point. When we think of tabletop miniature games, we usually associate them with war and conflict, But with this model, I knew I wanted to make something which represented peace to some degree. So I went with the design of this old dragon, old hairy dragon, with a walking stick / magic staff, because its wings are all in tatters, these moth-like wings, and in its left hand it holds a chunk of an old shrine, an ancient shrine which has like a trickle of prayer and faith power running within it. And this guy's wandering around not to get into battles, but to heal people if they need it, and to spread kindness. So, I mean, you could do what you want with it, but that was the design anyway. And going forward, the models I want to make will be more adventure models than wargame models. I'll still be designing goofy little things with swords and shields. You can still use them in tabletop wargames, but you know, adventure has more to it than just battles. That was my thought process anyway. So I'm going to be selling this model via Patreon first, and then I will release it for general sale the month after on Gumroad. And I've not set up my mini factory yet, but ideally it will be there because it just makes sense. And yeah, I know Patreon, everyone has a Patreon, there's so many subscriptions in our lives, I get it. But for me, I think I need some sustainability with this. I want to have a community around it as well, and that's part of what Patreon is. I want to feel driven and have that feedback, and I think that's the best way forward. I'll have one tier which will be fairly cheap for a brief period, and you can just join, get the model and leave if you want, that's fine. I'm also going to be selling a limited amount of physical prints via my website, and unfortunately that's just within Great Britain. Things might be a bit easier with shipping to the EU in regards to VAT if you use certain marketplaces these days, but unfortunately there are other hurdles that are just at the minute too big for small business. And by small business I mean one self-employed person like me. So unfortunately it's just Great Britain for now, and I will maybe work on an alternative at some point. It turns out charities don't want your money. But seriously, I wanted to launch this miniature with a percentage going to a charity. And it turns out that charities kind of want to enter a contract with you, and there's certain thresholds you need to hit, and kind of deadlines and minimum donation amounts and things like that. And I was a bit naive when I had this idea a while ago. So unfortunately I can't officially give to a charity, but what I'm going to say here is that I'm a self-employed person. From the drawings I make, which is basically the wage I give to myself, I'm going to donate out of my own personal money. This is not fundraising. I'm going to be donating 10% of everything I make on the STL of this model and the physical prints of this model, as well as the first month of Patreon, since it's for this model. I'm going to donate 10% of that to Oxfam, and it's not fundraising. That's just what I'm doing with my personal money, and do what you want with that information. but so annoying, so stupid. Just like, take my money, charity. What's wrong with you? Whatever. That's what's happening. There's so many talented sculptors out there making some amazing things that you can download and print at home. And, you know, I'm not here trying to compete with people. I'm just trying to find my own little niche and make some silly, goofy little things, maybe some spooky things, but generally whimsical, characterful. That's what I want to do. And if you like this kind of stuff, then follow me on all my social networks and maybe consider joining the Patreon or buying a model in the future or sharing this or liking this or all those things. That'd be amazing. But, you know, if you don't want to, that's fine. What you should do, though, is go and spread a bit of kindness to someone else that you like. And actually, I saw someone the other day that I've forgotten the name of on YouTube. So I'm going to find out who it is and put them up there. And this is just a random YouTube channel that I found. And this guy was making some cool things. And he just has a smile on his face throughout the whole thing. He's really happy. And yeah, he just deserves some love. So go follow them. And as far as this YouTube channel goes, I mean, this is a secondary thing alongside the sculpting, which is the primary focus. I will be doing some videos on my models, but also I'd like to do some stuff on smaller independent games. I'll do the big ones as well. I'll just do some general painting, because I don't do enough painting, to be fair, and this will give me a good excuse. I'd really like to have all my models painted up when I'm releasing them. But also I'd like to spotlight other people. You know, I'm not here to compete. I just want to spread some kindness and maybe help out smaller creators as well. I really want to foster a happy and positive and kind environment online and a sense of community. So at some point I will start a Discord, and it would be good to gather those kind of people together. Cool people that just like to make cool things, share cool things. So hopefully I can do that soon. Feel free to contact me on any of the social networks that I'm on if you like, just to show me your cool stuff. So here is the finished Mandruk, the ancient Fae Dragon. There is some lore. I'll talk about that in another video. For now, this is just some whimsical fantasy dragon dude, which has some Buddhist kind of influences. I'll talk about that another time. The paint job is adequate. I've not painted in a while, so I'm sure I can do better. I need to get back in the swing of it, but it's fine. It's fine. I would love to see other people's paint jobs. I'm sure other people can do much, much better. If you do happen to paint this, then feel free to tag me on Instagram, Kinsfolk Miniatures. I would love to see other people paint my things. I think the first time I see that happen will be a very joyful moment. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you'd like to follow along with my sculpting journey, maybe buy this model, go to kinsfolkminiatures.com, and I'm Kinsfolk Miniatures on all the social networks that I happen to be on. For now, I'm focusing on fantasy, whimsical characters. I would like to try other things at some point, but for now I'm definitely focused on this. So if you happen to know anyone else that might like this style of miniature, then if you could share the video to them, then that would mean the world to me. So thank you in advance for that. So now I have to think of a sign off for YouTube. Be kind and be kinsfolk, or something along those lines. Be kind, my kinsfolk. Be kind and be kinsfolk. One of those. We'll go with one of those.